This is just one of those headlines you don't get to read often. Rudy Giuliani butt dials NBC reporter heard discussing need for cash and trashing Biden's. NBC News investigative reporter Rich Shapiro goes on to describe not one but two voicemails from Rudy Giuliani recorded when Giuliani accidentally butt dialed him. In one voicemail from late September, Giuliani can be heard attacking the Bidens with unfounded allegations before apparently turning to Donald Trump's call with the Ukrainian president. In another, roughly 2 weeks later, he can be heard discussing overseas business dealings and his need for cash.
You know, Charles would have a hard time with a fraud case because he didn't do any due diligence. Tomorrow, I got to get you to get on Bahrain. You got to call. Hold on. You got to call Robert again tomorrow. Is Robert around? The problem is we need some money. We need $200,000.
The voicemails are drawing new scrutiny on Giuliani at a time when he's under federal criminal investigation and accused of running a shadow foreign policy in Ukraine to dig up dirt on Trump's political rival. Giuliani is now reportedly on the hunt for a defense attorney as federal prosecutors issue multiple subpoenas in the case against Giuliani's indicted associates. Politico reports that the criminal division of Attorney General Barr's Justice Department is bringing more resources to the SDNY's investigation into Giuliani, indicating that the probe into the president's personal attorney is both broader and moving at a faster pace than previously understood. Joining us now is Frank Figliuzzi, a former FBI Assistant Director for Counterintelligence and an MSNBC National Security Analyst, and Danny Cevallos, a criminal defense attorney and an MSNBC legal analyst. I want to get into the SDNY aspect in a second, because I think it's interesting that the DOJ is sending them more resources for something like this. But just first off, Rudy Giuliani and the call, what stood out to you?
Well, first, many people would say Rudy's been talking out of that part of his anatomy for quite a while. But the first thing that struck me was the national security implication of the president's attorney and unofficial global emissary not understanding phone security. How many other people around the world and in what countries have received unsolicited voicemails from the president's attorney? What country leader or country general counsel or minister has received such things? But the other thing that struck me, Katie, is there's been consistent reporting on Rudy's third divorce, a very acrimonious divorce proceeding where his wife is claiming in court filings that his pro bono work for the president is part of a scheme to allow him to claim he's broke and can't afford alimony. Yet on this recording, we hear him say, the problem is we need more money, or we need some money. Is it possible that he's got some legal issue with regard to hiding his income because of a divorce proceeding? That's
interesting. There has been a question of whether Rudy Giuliani is really working for free for the president or if somebody else is paying him. This call talked about money. I'm not sure it revealed much more than him talking about money and saying we need money. There was another one where he talks about Joe Biden and why Giuliani believes he's being targeted. Let's play that soundbite.
I expected it would happen. The minute you touch on one of the protected people, they go crazy. They come after you. You got the truth on our side, which is very powerful. Most powerful weapon. Yeah, there's plenty more to come out. They don't want to investigate because he's protected. So we got to force him to do it. And the Ukraine, they were investigating him, and they blocked it twice. So what the president was, you can't keep doing this. You have to investigate this. And they say it will affect the 2020 election.
They say it will affect the 2020 election. We got to get them to investigate it. What do you think, Danny?
It almost sounds like he's justifying all of his arguments over the past few weeks to himself. Like he's looking in the mirror and saying, this is why we did this, right? He's saying, it sounds to me as if he's saying, and I don't think this is a stretch, that the protected people were the Bidens, and all we were doing was asking them to investigate people who were being protected improperly, and we were looking into corruption anyway. It just sounds like a lot of self-justification. And what stands out to me is really building on what Frank said. If he's doing this accidentally to reporters, who else is he doing this to?
Yeah.
And to what degree could he possibly be acting as an attorney in one sense, as a diplomat in his own mind in another sense, or as a private business person? And if there's this added element of whether his income he's supposed to be receiving it or not receiving it, what does it mean when he says we need this money, or who he's there's so many X factors in here, but that last clip really tended to show me that there's a lot of justification going on that maybe he doesn't even believe himself.
I want to know, do you think SDNY investigators are going to want that phone call, those two phone calls?
I do, because it could be viewed as a statement against self-interest. It could be viewed as a kind of admission that I knew this would affect the 2020 election, and we're asking for it anyway.
And then what about William Barr getting the DOJ to investigate itself?
Oh, my. So it's very disturbing. And at best, it reflects the fact that they believe they're finding something criminal. But I have to tell you, Katie, when you tell FBI agents and CIA officers and analysts that they are facing criminal exposure because of the work they did in furtherance of the national security, guess what happens? They get lawyers and they refuse to cooperate. And so we're about to face a spectacle where you're going to see the White House and certain news outlets claim, look at these people. They've lawyered up. They must have done something wrong. So I have to wonder, is this a deliberate strategy to make that happen?
Danny, I know you're coming back, so forgive me for asking Frank one more question. Why do you think the DOJ would send SDNY more money on this?
On the Rudy Giuliani investigation, it's getting complicated to the point where people are thinking they're going to claim executive privilege by extension. We've heard Rudy's associates throw around the idea that they were by proxy.
So another filter team like the Michael Cohen case?
Exactly. A team, a filter team that's going to have to figure out whether anyone can claim privilege here.
I don't say the T word around here.
I understand.
Okay. Frank Baguzzi, thank you very much. Danny Ceballos, you will be coming back.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.